I swear these just get better and better. At the fifth stage of our second journey up the chromatic scale, Bach lays for us a feast both lavish and substantial. The E major movements are just enchanting, starting with a prelude for 3 designated voices played by the pianist's 2 hands and locked in a conversational embrace from beginning to end. The way those lines weave in and out of each other is just wonderful and makes me wonder which of us big-brained apes first looked at our hands with their wriggling digits and thought, I could make counterpoint with those. The movement takes the sonata-like shape that we've seen elsewhere in this collection, with Bach hewing to his established strategy of expanding the second big repeated section over the first, reviewing and enlarging on the expositions material, and in this case, revising and rearranging it on its return. Those momentary modal darkenings with which Bach seasons his wistful-sounding closing sections just wring my heart. This is a fascinating and deeply lovable movement, and the complementary fugue is simply splendid. Another high-minded outpouring in the high Renaissance style of Palestrina or maybe Frescobaldi. The fugue's simple arch-like subject is worked out to extraordinary length through a succession of stretti, each an advance in some respect over its antecedents, and with the final stretto seemed calculated to transport the listener to the very gates of heaven. The ending is breathtaking. Victor Lederer informs me that this most vocal of Bach's keyboard fugues has been arranged for and performed by mixed choruses. But I failed to turn up a recorded example of that, although there are a few MIDI files of the fugue so arranged on YouTube. One would need to hear the real thing, however, to get the full effect, and I can well imagine that it's a splendid one. The minor key movements paint a very different portrait of their creator. Here we see Bach at his most serious and, in the fugue, his most intimidating. The E minor prelude also takes the embryonic sonata form that we saw in E major, but here the style is that of a 2-part invention, and the thematic divisions are thus not quite so apparent. I confess that I struggled over the parsing of this one, and other interpretations are certainly possible and defensible. I ought to know I've entertained a few myself. In this prelude, as in its E major counterpart, Bach contrives to distribute the counterpoint so as to generate an unbroken flow of semiquavers from beginning to end. This is a regular feature of Bach's contrapuntal writing, one that has always set Bach apart for me and made him the most enjoyable of the great creative artists of the first half of the 18th century. The E minor fugue is a stabbing, aggressive thing, its subject jagged with tight melodic turns, syncopated distribution of long notes, and a flurry of triplets that sets the tone for the whole movement. The distinctive motives that constitute the subject are subjected to fascinating treatments in some ample developmental episodes, and as the movement approaches its end, it seems to come increasingly unglued, like a piece of machinery that's been driven too hard, and opens out finally onto a fantastical toccata-like coda that includes some of the most lavish counterpoint I can imagine possible by a mammal with 10 digits, and finishes with a glorious Picardy cadence. I have no idea what to say about this music beyond that. This reminds me of Sibelius's quip that music begins where words cease. Enjoy the exquisite playing of Tatiana Nikolayeva in some of the most glorious music you can ever hope to hear.